Some people may not believe in angels. I can tell you one thing, I do. One time my brother was out on the farm with my dad. And my dad was a rice farmer. He worked to grow rice for a big company. They have thousands of acres of rice. And he decided to ride with my dad on the tractor, the big track layer. And they were pulling I think it was a 30-foot wide disc. And these discs have big, round cutting wheels on them that dig down into the earth. And they turn it over. And they are very sharp. And I've seen pheasants and rabbits go through that and be cut up, and it's not a pretty sight. And my brother was going along with my dad, and all of a sudden they hit a little bump, and my brother went off the back of the tractor. And for some miraculous reason, he went through the disc, and instead of being cut up, he was just pushed down into the dirt and run over many times by these blades. That was a miracle. My dad got off that tractor, and he was just shaking, and he thought his son was dead. But he just went over to see my brother, and he just picked him up, and he was okay. Nothing was wrong. He was fine. I tell you right now, there was an angel watching my brother. He was not supposed to leave at that time. Now, in farming, there are a lot of accidents, and we had our fair share too. I know when my father was going down on a canal road one time, and it's up on a levee, and there's a lot of gravel, and my tractors all around, and my dad's distracted by watching these different things, and he's driving fast, and I have to say farmers drive crazy. And he was coming to the curve in the road to go across the canal, and he spun out on the gravel, rolled down the end of the canal, which is about 30 feet deep, and started sinking down in the water. And when you have water force against your windows, it's almost impossible to break it without some kind of special tool or something metal. Well, for some reason, my dad was able to get up with both his feet and kick out the driver's side window. And he was able to escape through that broken window. And he came out the other side, and he got home, and he had a big gash in his leg. I have to say, he was not supposed to leave then. He was not supposed to leave then. There was an angel watching over him. He was supposed to be around a little longer. We had a little farm where we had horses and cows. I had 19 sheep. We had 100 pigeons and goats, and you name it, we had it. And one time we had a little disc buried in the ground that was all rusty. It's been there for years, and it's up against the barn and up against the fence also. It's kind of wedged in the corner. We had a little John Deere tractor, and we hitched that up to it, and my dad was on the tractor, and I was standing back a little ways, and my dad was tugging on this thing. It was buried halfway in the ground, tugging on it with the tractor, and I was kind of looking the other way. All of a sudden, I saw the little flash of light, and a voice came to me and said, "Step back, Paul. Step back, Paul." I took one step back, and all of a sudden my dad hit the gas on the tractor, and it flipped and came in my direction, and this big blade came down like this, and I could feel the air of that blade coming down. And it came down. And my dad was watching this whole thing, and he's, "Oh my goodness, I just killed my son." Anyway, he got off that tractor, and he thought, oh my. But I was fine. Nothing had happened. I have to say again that there were angels with me. And I was not supposed to leave then. I was not supposed to leave this planet at that time. There were more important things to be done yet. I had more to do. And one time we had an old 1951 Ford pickup. Red body with black fenders. And we used it to go to the dump, and we would take and fill it up with hay and take it to the horses, to the cows, and spreading the manure with it and all kinds of stuff. And one day we had gone to the dump, and I was in the truck. I was driving. My mom was on the other side, and my sister, she was very small. She was there in the middle. And I went around the corner, and all of a sudden the passenger side door opened, and they both slid out. And I stopped the truck, and oh my goodness! And I was just shaking. I walked back, and I thought, oh man, they're going to be dead. And for some amazing reason, my mom hit the ground, but my sister came down right on top of her. And my sister was crying, of course. She was a little girl, but she wasn't hurt. And miraculously, nothing happened to my mother either. Again, I can tell you from the bottom of my heart that the angels were watching. And that my mom and my sister were not supposed to leave at that time. We do have angels watching over us. There's no doubt about that in my mind. That's why we have these preordained destinies that we're also in consort with, and we can change them. But we have a plan. We had a horse corral, and we had a young paint horse. He'd never been broke. And my dad was gonna break it, but he was busy in the rice and farming. He just didn't get around to it. But I had to go in and feed this horse some hay, and I went in, locked the gate behind me, and was taking a flake of hay to put it in the manger. All of a sudden, this horse started raising up with his front legs, and I was going to die. All of a sudden, there was a little flash of light, and I could feel my hand go up and touch the top of that fence way up on top, which is 6-foot fence that we had around this paddock. This is a real high fence. And something lifted me up. I could feel something lift me up, and I landed on the other side of the fence. You may say all of a sudden I got superhuman power, but there was no power there. It was something lifting me up. Again, I was not supposed to leave. There was more to this life that I was supposed to do. And maybe you have your own stories of divine intervention that's happened to you. All of us have amazing stories of things that have happened to us. The reasons we didn't die over and over again, and why we were saved. All these things that we go through, we're supposed to learn lessons from. And from those lessons, we're supposed to help other people and the planet. Now, what are you doing right now to make a change in this planet, in this life that we have? What have you learned from your lessons? What can you glean from your lessons to make life better for people? That's what it's all about. To help and be an angel unto another. We're all angels in one way or another.